Seems like the whole world now is realizing what people like us have known for quite a long time, that Meghan Markle is a psychopath and a narcissist. So now people are asking me to say a little bit more about her. I figure, why not? So let's talk a little bit about why I believe that Harry is a psychopath. Now, the first thing is that Harry talks about incidents, but he really struggles when it comes to feelings. For example, let's look at the way that he talks about his late mother. He can't really talk about anything that he felt with her, he just talks about incidents. He says that he was a favorite, but he can't really tell us why, etc. I also couldn't help but notice that Harry had people projecting onto him and making so many excuses for him, trying to mother him, claiming that he was so sensitive in spite of the fact that there is no evidence to prove that. Harry is not a victim. In fact, he's a perpetrator. Case in point, that debacle of an interview they did with Oprah. After the interview, I think I was the only one I knew saying that no, the racism claim was completely made up. It just didn't even happen. Harry was making the whole thing up. And then, just a little over a week later, there was one expert, literally the only one, who said the same as what I said. Many people know a guy, Chase Hughes, from the behavior panel. He disagreed with the other panelists. He stuck to his guns and he said it never happened. He wasn't trying to soften the situation, he just said it absolutely never occurred. And it turns out Chase saw exactly what I did. And Harry has a little tell when he's telling a big lie. But what really took me to a dark, depressing place was not Harry telling lies. It was the actions of Oprah and Meghan, those couple of sociopaths who staged all of this when they knew that it was completely made up. Now, I did mention it previously, talking about how the interview was shot over 2 days. The allegations were made first only by Meghan, and then the lighting and the position of the shadows and sun show that this part actually took over 3 hours. So no, this was not some spontaneous line of questioning or answer. Oprah's reaction shots were also shot when she was all by herself. I could not believe my eyes. I mean, here was an allegedly pregnant mother who was going to some really ridiculous lengths in conjunction with Oprah to craft this whole narrative they knew was made up, one that destroys her husband if he were not a psychopath, that is. Just think about it. I mean, this was shot over 2 days. That tells us a lot. So they shot it, and then they shot it again to get the narrative they wanted. And not only did Meghan throw her husband under the bus, but she really ruined him. And Harry just went along with the whole charade. So no, it's not okay for people out there to defend him in any way. Sunshine going after everybody, the bots deployed, the YouTube strikes, and Oprah's team doing basically the same. All this fraud, all this deception. What a shock that interview was taken down. It actually broke laws in more than a few countries. Harry has his tells when he lies, and during that Oprah interview and the other interviews Meghan did, I saw a few tells there as well. I think Chase did too, and more recently, boy, he has not been holding back. I'm pretty certain what was the final straw is I suspect the same as me, and now he has said that he had to spend time with serial killers, and in fact, he would prefer to spend time with them than Meghan Markle. Now, in the past, people always knew what I was talking about because they knew how to read between the lines. And now, thanks to Chase's confirmation, I know I was in the right the whole time. Meghan is an evil, malignant narcissist, and she's so predictable too. But anyway, back to the predictions. I said they were going to get divorced. The only way for Meghan to succeed in this endeavor, especially after everybody hates Harry. Diana is very important in all of this mess because they've got to do everything they can to remind people of her. Lilibet is actually named Diana. And they also needed to invoke hatred of those evil oppressors known as the royal family. After all, Hollywood loves to cast the royal family as these evil people. And of course, they have to be victims. They always have to play the victim. Now, Oprah was supposedly their good friend. And royal, they want to really highlight that royal connection. Meghan wants everybody to know that she's a princess, because if her daughter is a princess, then she must be as well. And in fact, she must be queen someday. And also, they wanted to make sure everybody knew that they were connected to the royal family. Meghan wanted to really play up this idea that she's a real-life princess and that she's so well connected. And then they also had to let everybody know that they had no choice but to escape the evil British royal family because they were so racist, and they didn't get Meghan help when she was feeling suicidal. So let's look at Meghan's first public appearance, shall we? That paid for award that she picked up. Oh, this is a standard play of Meghan's. And notice that it's not only Meghan. Now you can see the major differences in this appearance and the ride after. It's Doria. So when Beyonce was separated from Jay-Z, and when he was in all that trouble because of his affairs, her sister and family were there for her. So now it isn't just the two of them. Instead, it's a throuple with Doria involved. I've always been amazed at how the threesome, Markus, Doria, and Meghan, show a lot of patience as they're bringing their plan to fruition for the big money. I've always wondered that maybe, since Markus is known to be a gay man, and Scooby-Doo apparently is one of his boy toys or whatever, but anyway, I have always thought that it's possible that the group got Harry super high that night at Invictus, and then they took some photos of him that he would not want to get out. And that was Meghan's ticket to that engagement. The three and Markus connections had crafted a whole playbook from the very beginning. And that also explains why the three of them showed up together that first night at Invictus. They were trying to pretend like they were just being supportive. And Doria's just along for the ride. She basically does whatever Meghan tells her to do. It's just a very basic move. If it were real, then it would be in the video with her glaring at Harry's bald spot. Instead, the thing that we need to be asking ourselves is why in the world is Meghan Markle grinning? What was the real game they were playing? Now just think it through carefully. Harry has had something around 4 public appearances in New York. The same security service with all the security guards for that amazing shot. But there wasn't this fuss or circus. There wasn't anywhere near as much interest. No actual paparazzi, no security barriers for the media to be behind. No chases, nothing close to a chase. So really, what had Meghan dreamed up for her first public appearance? Well, I guess she wanted to create this big circus so that it would look like Harry was completely irrelevant. It was all carefully orchestrated. The barrier set up the invitation sent to Backgrid, and the 2 paid for photographers to photograph the others and provide the setting. You can see the extensive flashing. Now what in the world is Meghan Markle, this malignant narcissist, to do? Well, that's not complicated. She'll just do like any other malignant narcissist would do, and cut anybody out of her life who dares to disagree with her or who questions her perceived status. Bye-bye, Lainey. Toodaloo, Jessica Maroney. Goodbye, Sunshine Sachs. See you later. See you never, Piers Morgan. And so many employees, too. And how could we forget all the family members and all the rest, too? Now notice the only 2 that are left. Look up Chase Hughes, and he's describing the traits better than I can. There's also something that I've hinted at a few times. I do wonder who has noticed. I've made the case that timing was important, and that is why I set the predictions of divorce for this year. Sociopaths are pretty good at putting the pieces into place. Now Doria is leading the operations. That's going to be money for her, and the house is in Meghan's name. Harry is not useful to Meghan any longer. And now she's got a plan to try to redeem herself within the US. She fired her employees, and instead she decided to hire Michelle Obama's PR agency and management. Like that's gonna work. Meanwhile, Harry's basically going for broke. He paid all her bills, all her expenses, and she made her children prince and princess with the approval of King Charles, but only because he doesn't have to pay anything for it. In spite of the fact that for the past 20 years or so, he's been saying he wouldn't. Many people heard those words come out of his mouth. Now I think everybody is able to put 2 and 2 together and understand why I kept talking about Harry. See, that is the redemption plan. It's all about psychopath Harry. He who has these rage problems, who takes a lot of drugs, who is incredibly unstable. He could not possibly be a father. And then Meghan will just have it made because she can play both the victim and the malignant narcissist. She really is the draw after all. Harry is just so jealous of her. That's why they have so many problems. So that dimwit Harry has positioned himself into a very desperate position. Now he knows he doesn't have any money. He cannot afford to go through a messy divorce. He can't even go for the children if they really did use surrogates. Legally, Meghan's name is on the birth certificates, and so legally, she would be the mother. For a long time now, I've been seeing this problem coming. Harry has a real problem with money, and he was so dumb he didn't understand how to protect himself. There are no Netflix royalties. Almost all the other projects are in Meghan's name. Now just look at Charles, who resented losing almost all of his personal money to Diana in that divorce. He also couldn't share any of his mother's money with the rest of the family. I can't help but wonder what this is going to do to Harry. And reportedly, now Harry is spending a lot of nights in hotel rooms all by himself. And another question we need to be asking is why exactly has Markus started living with Meghan again? Well, I think we can guess why, but the reason is pretty disturbing. I wish that all of my predictions did not come true about these two, but unfortunately, I seem to be hitting the nail on the head. However, it's not over yet, so time will tell.